Now joining us here in studio for another Mangru one-on-one is the Republican congressional candidate for Florida's 22nd District, retired Lieutenant Colonel Allen West. Allen, it's great to have you on the show today.
Well, thanks so much. It's a pleasure to be here with you, Dan.
Allen, I want to start off talking about the economy, and it's
Sure.
the #1 issue on every American's mind is jobs and the economy.
Absolutely.
And with this particular time that we live in being so important and so focused on the economy and jobs, what do you think qualifies you to make decisions on economies and jobs?
Well, I think one of the things you look at being a professional military officer, at the age of 28, you know, I commanded a unit of 131 soldiers. I had 55 vehicles. I had a budget of $2.5 million. And then you look later on, when I'm a lieutenant colonel, I had 650 soldiers in a combat zone, over 200 vehicles, and that budget had almost tripled. So I think understanding management principles and being able to lead also enables me to sit down and really study the economy and know what's best for our economic situation, also as far as the job situation. And I think that one of the things a lot of people don't understand is a professional military education, which is what I received over my 22 years, is not just about going out and trigger pulling. It's about understanding the strategic aspect, which means that not just the military, but tying in diplomacy, information systems, and also economic systems.
Now on jobs, a very popular mantra for Republicans has been just lower taxes. However, just a two-word slogan isn't a real plan on jobs.
Not.
What's your plan to put Americans back to work?
Well, I think the most important thing is to understand you have to transfer the wealth of the American people back to the American people. It cannot be kidnapped and harnessed in Washington, D.C. The most recent jobs report is a great indicator of that, where we find out, I think it's like 423,000 new jobs created, but 90% of that is government jobs. That is unsustainable. That leads us to be exactly what you see happening in Greece, where the fastest growing sector is the public sector and not the private sector. So it is not just saying we're going to cut taxes. It is about saying, okay, we've got to reform a tax code. We've got to get away from a progressive tax system. I'm an advocate of a flat tax, 13 to 14% personal income, bringing down that corporate business tax rate to 16 to 18%. You can start to have that growth. Then you got to look at payroll taxes. Let's suspend that for a period of time. That's a great stimulus. Then you look at capital gains taxes, dividend tax, and this death tax is supposed to be coming back. We need to eliminate those things. But on top of that, you also have to look at how do you reduce the growth and the size of government. So I say you look at the second biggest growth of government for the United States of America has come post-1970. So you need to look at 15% across the board cutting government programs since that 1970 period. And then go back with the surgical look. All right, where are the serious agencies and programs that we need to really start reducing?
The big thing that's going on in the Gulf of Mexico is the BP oil spill.
Absolutely.
Something everybody's talking about. It could be huge. Actually, looks
well,
to
it
be,
is huge.
Well, it looks to be bigger than Exxon Valdez in terms of its size.
Absolutely.
And so earlier on, back in 2008, when you first started running, you were for offshore drilling.
Yes.
Now that the BP oil spill has happened, do you still hold that same stance?
You absolutely have to. I mean, you know, when I was in the military and you have a firing incident, you don't say we're not going to shoot our weapons ever again. You stop, you understand how that firing incident happened, and you apply the corrections to make sure it doesn't happen, you know, furthermore, and then you continue on with your training. So I think the thing that we need to learn from this is understanding deep water drilling. And understanding, you know, maybe we shouldn't be out at 5,000 feet. You know, how can we do this drilling, do it safely? What do we need to look at as far as our oil drilling platforms to make sure we have those fail-safe measures in place? And then we need to make sure we have monthly or some type of routine emergency management tests or something along that lines. Because, you know, we didn't have the systems that were ready to immediately go in and cordon off that area so that this oil should not spread. I mean,
why not look at natural gas?
You know, absolutely. And see, that's the thing. It's not one or the other. It's developing your full spectrum of energy resource, from the oil to the natural gas to the nuclear to the coal, all the way down to the renewables of solar and wind. It's kind of like an investment portfolio. When you have an investment portfolio, you don't throw all your money into, you know, one basket. You know, you have the big pie chart. Now, as technologies increase, certain things, you know, decrease and other aspects increase. Electric cars, hydrogen, Gulf Stream technology, those type of things. That's what we need to be looking at. And see, that's one of the things that you would have thought that the Department of Energy that was created back in the 70s to make us energy independent would have been doing. but yet that $25 billion budget that they have, don't know where it's going.
Now, oddly enough, one of the areas that President Obama has actually cut government spending on and is actually driving it towards a private market or private sector approach has been the space program and space exploration. Now, do you agree with Obama that the private sector should take over America's space exploration program, or do you think it's actually a good use of government funds?
No, I think that's a good use of government funds. I think that, you know, the government, if we're going to continue to explore and be involved, you know, one of the things that's happening now in this new 21st century battlefield is cyber warfare. And that's one of the things that falls under the mandate of the Constitution to provide for the common defense, because you continue to see all of these technological systems or our information technology systems being hacked into. So we have got to have space dominance, and I think that's one of the frontiers that the federal government, I mean, John F. Kennedy said it, and he set the challenge out there, and we need to continue on. I don't want to see us having to go to pay for a ticket to Russia or anyone else to get a ride up to the space station, or asking them to put a satellite up for us.
Thank you very much for coming on the program. Truly my pleasure.
It was my honor.